Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today will be a short color and chat video, just me talking about what's going on and coloring meanwhile. I'm not coloring or not going to color with the Holbeins yet because the past few days every project that I started went terribly wrong, and it seems like I've lost my mojo somehow. I don't know, but it started with a page in a very cheap coloring book, so it wasn't that of a problem, but I wanted to paint a kind of a sunset sky, and it was rubbish. So, but I thought, okay, can happen. Next project, I grabbed my Find Color coloring book. Meanwhile, I'm going to start to color. I'm using the Arteza Real Brush Pens. I'm putting down some ink on my acrylic palette and I'm coloring in these flowers. Also very strange for me, I never color intro pages, but I wanted to test out the materials and if it bled through, and that wasn't the case. And I liked the color, so I thought, instead of working the page that I had first picked, why don't you just try this little simple picture, thinking about my disasters from the past few days. So after that page in that very cheap book, I grabbed Find Color by Googly. It's a Chinese book with a very thick watercolor paper, and I wanted to do the first page with a kind of a sepia ink to express the opposite of the title of the book and that picture, so a sepia intro page, and that went totally wrong. It was ugly. I tried to save it with some brush powders, used way too much water. I had to rip it out of my book because otherwise my front cover and some other pages would have been ruined. It's lying next to me in a paper bin. I'm going to show it. This was my result. So bye-bye page. And and then there was another Chinese coloring book, and of course my heart ached with the Googly book, with that page being wasted. But there can always happen something. So I started another page, but not in a Googly book. It was in another Chinese coloring book. And the neocolors too didn't do what I wanted them to. The paper was rubbish. I've never experienced so much trouble with the Chinese coloring book, and I've also ripped it out of the book in pure frustration, and it was this one. It was crumbly. I tried to use the real brush pens, also diluted with water, and it was just stainy, and so that's also a failure. And because of that, I didn't know what to color anymore. I didn't feel pictures anymore. And then I decided to return to the Swedish or the Scandinavian books and to play around with some other water media instead of neocolors. Not that the neocolors are bad, because it's just a paper that wasn't cooperative. But I had chosen a page in this book, but I thought, let's play it safe and test your mediums out. And so I did on this one, and I quite like the color. This is coffee, by the way, the coffee real brush pen, and I've also have eggplant purple besides me. So I think I'm going to use that also here and there in the flower, because I like to play around. All the little leaves don't all have the same color, and I really like that way of coloring. And so I hope that if this turns out nice, that my coloring mojo will be back. It's not lost, that's a strange thing. I really want to color, but I'm afraid now. After these disasters, I'm really afraid. And I have a lot of beautiful books, and I don't want to waste expensive pencils for nothing. So I was glad that I hadn't started using the Holbeins in the Fine Googly book, because I would have lost pencil pigment for nothing. And so that's why I'm going to leave them until I'm feeling secure again by doing this page. And it is something different now. Doing an intro page is something that I maybe did one or twice in the past, but certainly not more, I think. I always dive into the book straight away. But yeah, if I want to tackle my nerves and my uncertainty in coloring, I just have to do this for a bit. The thing is also that even watching YouTube wasn't inspiring. Most of the time when I watch videos, I get super inspired, and it helps me to decide on which book I want to work on, or what kind of style that I want to color in, or a certain material that I want to use. And now I just felt lost. I loved everything that I saw from other colorists, but for myself, I got quite stressy looking at my bookcase and not knowing what to pick. So and then I thought, it has been a while since you've colored in the Sagor Ochsagner coloring book. I did a picture recently in the Fairy Tales coloring book, and I had a lot of fun with that one, and so I thought this paper probably will take some water media without ripping the page and without me getting frustrated. So the Chinese book, the Second Lady with the Night Sky, it was a bit of a pity. I could have left it in the book, but I was so annoyed, and I thought project after project is failing here. And not that I'm a hot-headed person, but I was so sometimes we just have those moments, and the paper had to disappear. You know what? I'm really liking these flowers. The color of it. It's coffee, and it's kind of a reddish pink. And just because it's on a palette and because I've grabbed it with water, I really like this way of using these materials. And I also I'm going to grab my cloth to clean that acrylic palette. There are also people that use a CD, an old CD, but I don't know if I have one that can be used, but this is also perfect. It's perfectly cleanable. I'm just going to check another, so there's no bleed through at all. So now I know that I can use the real brush markers without having to be, or without being afraid, that it will bleed through. I'm going to add a little bit of that purple here and there, just to make it a bit playful. And I had grabbed my inktenses already to do the background in this book, because I had chosen a picture with the sunset. But now I'm going to use it on the berries. I'm going for another palette than usual. And I'm already feeling better than yesterday, believe me. I'm glad that that something finally is working out. So believe me, I have pages that are a success from the start. Although a success, I don't want to brag, but pages with which I'm happy. No, that's not the right way of saying it. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to explain it in the right way, but you know what I mean. Pages that I can that give me a good feeling from the start. I shall put it like that. And this one is giving me the same feeling that I had lost for 3 projects. Really, if 3 pages after each other fail, then you really get nervous. And yeah, I really was worried that I lost it, that I couldn't decide on a technique anymore, or it was very strange. I'm really liking this. Really liking this. And I already did an inktense page in this book quite a while ago, so inktense is taken well also. So I will do the berries in inktense. In the meanwhile, my pencil case for the Holbeins has arrived. I have ordered one because my desk isn't very big and it would be a shame that I would have any risk of them falling, so I've ordered myself a big pencil case for them. So I will move them into their new home soon. I just picked it up at the post office this evening after work. So, okay, my flowers are done. Are these berries? Yeah, I think they are. Okay. I want to use an orange and a yellow. I'm going to grab my swatch book and see which colors that are usable. Here's my swatch book. I like the sienna gold one. I also think it's quite beautiful with a more cooler palette of the flowers. So the sienna gold or Sicilian yellow, maybe it can be a bit more bright but warm. Sicilian yellow, and then tangerine is a bit too much. Baked earth is too pale. Red oxide. I think I will leave it at mid vermilion and Sicilian yellow. Okay, opening up this box. Sicilian yellow and mid vermilion. Going to put this box aside again. And I'm going to do berry after berry, I think. So I'm putting in the darkest color first, and then the lighter one. And I'm just going to focus on where this mark is. I'm going to think that the light is coming from up here on that berry, from up there, from that berry, and so on and so forth. And we have some bit of play, a playful berry garden. So now I always have a bit of trouble doing two colors at the same time. It's always, if I haven't used the inktense for quite a while, it's always relearning, I have the feeling, and I don't like how this is turning out, but okay, it isn't a disaster yet. This isn't bleeding through, no. Okay. I think I'm going to add some extra of that vermilion straight from the pencil. Maybe I've used too much water. I really don't like how this is turning out. Oh well, I'm going to try with this one. This is better. This is way better. I'm going to let it dry, and I will be back in later on. And I must watch at my time. And stop this video in time, because otherwise you will lose a bit of my talking. Not that I'm talking that much, but you will always see that I'm explaining something or something like that, and that it's lost. Okay, I like the combination of those warm colors. Going to add some extra. Maybe I can color in a bit extra if it's dry. Okay, I'm going to stop this video for a second and return right away, because otherwise I will have trouble with my sound.